Hello, my name is Lori Pulliam. I'm doing my observation experience for my EDUC class 2130. The places that I visited for my observation was the Home Depot Kids Workshop. They were doing the building kits where the kids had to hammer and paint and just build a wood kit. The ages for this observation in this workshop aged from probably 4 or 5 years old up to possibly 10 years old was the oldest child there. It was really interesting. The younger kids needed their parents' help to help them build the kits. The kids required hammering to build the kits, and they needed to know how to read and follow the simple instructions. Some of the kids needed help with the reading and also just to follow the instructions. And they also needed help with the fine motor skills just to be able to hold the nails and to hammer them. Some of the older kids, the 9-10-year-olds, they were able to do it on their own. They were able to hammer and to also just read and follow the simple instructions to build their kits on their own. It was really interesting to watch the kids. The younger ones were really excited about building it, and the older ones were as well. Once they were done building, they were able to go to the paint station. They were able to paint. Some of the color schemes were really neat to see. I think the one that we were building this time was a military airplane or helicopter, and some of the kids followed the pattern that was on the picture, and other kids, they were just painting just whatever they wanted. So they're really using their imaginations and their just showing their personalities of what they wanted to paint. So that was a really neat one. It was fun to watch the children. The next observation I did was at the Halloween party that we have in our neighborhood. We live in a pretty multicultural neighborhood. Just a lot of different economics that come out of there. Like myself, I'm a single mom, and my son is actually a biracial child. Some of his friends are also biracial. Some of them are just white. Some of them are black. We have just there's some Chinese people in our neighborhood. There's some Hispanics. So there's just a good mix of cultures. There was a lot of kids. We probably had 30 kids that were there. Some of them actually lived in the neighborhood. Some of them were family members. So we had a lot of just different children in the neighborhood that showed up. The kids got to do arts and crafts, again, using fine motor skills. We had a bounce house, used the large motor skills and muscle groups for that. We ate. We had lots of food. The kids just got to interact and play. We had a costume contest, and we had just different things. The kids just got to run around and play. It was great to see the kids, boys and girls alone, playing with each other, and then just the different races playing with each other. And just different socioeconomic classes that were there. The kids didn't care. Kids were kids, and they were just playing with everybody, and everybody was welcome. Even people from other neighborhoods showed up who were just coming to trick-or-treat, and they saw the party, and we just welcomed them, and anybody and everybody could just join in, and the kids accepted everyone. Another place that I visited was First Baptist Church of Mableton. They have an Awana program, and it ages from they actually go through babies. I didn't get to observe the babies, but was through pre-K, and they go all the way up through high school. They do music, and then they have a Bible study for the kids. Each age group has a different Bible study, and then they do games, so they get to use all the the muscle groups again, large fine motor skills. They get to do memory Bible verses. They get to do music and movement, which is really fun to watch all the kids. They all broke up into different age groups, so I got to visit each of the classrooms in each of the age groups, so it was really fun to watch all of that. I also got to visit the Children's Museum of Atlanta, and again, they have different things from even infants. They had a little sensory bin for infants, and then they had a small group for younger children, like probably 2 to 3 up to 5 years old, where they had a little bin for children who could they could fish, and then they could use their skills where they could throw the fishing pole in, and they had to try to catch fish, so they were having to use their concentration skills and then their patience to try to catch the fish. And then they had things for the older kids. One of the biggest areas that the kids liked was they use the squishy balls like the restaurants used to have that you could play with in the ball pits, and the children had to try to figure out how the ball was getting from point A to point B with air or water, and the kids really liked that. They were having to use their cognitive thinking skills on how the ball was getting from point A to point B, and they were having to load the balls in, and then they were running from all around the set to try to figure out how the balls were going through. So that was a really neat concept. And they also had different science skills that the kids were using, and then they had story time, and the kids really enjoyed the story time. I also went to Thompson Park. It was here in Mableton. It's a playground, and they also have a duck feeding pond. And unfortunately, when I was there was only 1 or 2 kids, so my son was kind of the only one running around playing and feeding the ducks. But he had a good time. The other kids that were there, I think there was 2, and they actually left just a few minutes after we got there, so I didn't really get to observe any kids there. I also went to Main Event, and Main Event, it's a restaurant. They have a bowling alley, they have an arcade, they have laser tag, and they also have this ropes course. And I thought the ropes course was really neat. It's kind of up above, it's like ceiling level, and the kids are hooked to a harness, and they have to walk around, and they have to try to figure out how to get to point A to point B. And they might be walking on a tightrope or a short platform, or the board actually moves on them. So they're having to use their thinking and reasoning skills on how they're going to get across there. And you can see some of them are really nervous when they're trying to walk from point A to point B. But again, they're hooked to a harness, so if they do fall, they're not going to go anywhere. But you can see that they're using their thinking and their reasoning skills on how they're going to get from point A to point B, and if they're going to fall, or if they're not going to fall, or if they should go this way, or if 2 people can fit on the board at the same time. So it's really neat to watch, and I had a lot of fun watching that one because the kids were nervous. And I also got to see the kids playing the arcade games and just watching them and their skills at it. You know, they're way more experienced on video games than I am, and just watching their thinking, and then their hand-eye coordination on the video games was really advanced. So I really enjoyed that one too. I had a good time doing all the observations at the places I went, and I learned a lot from them. And thank you.